5 false realities only dark chosen ones can recognize. There are truths so buried beneath the noise of this world that only those who have danced with the shadows can ever uncover them. I'm not talking about conspiracy theories or dramatic secrets whispered in the dark. I'm talking about the subtle, almost invisible illusions that shape how we live, love, and suffer. These illusions are not on billboards or in textbooks. They're in our culture, our habits, our unspoken agreements with reality. And if you're here, listening to this, I know one thing: you've begun to see cracks in the facade. You've started to sense that something is deeply off, not just in the world, but in the way we're told to perceive it. You're not crazy. You're not broken. You're awakening. And that awakening starts with recognizing the 5 false realities only dark chosen ones can recognize. Let's get one thing straight. Being a dark chosen one isn't about being evil. It's not about darkness in the way we've been taught to fear it. It's about being forged in it. It's about being the kind of soul that was sent here not to bask in light, but to see through illusion. While others run from discomfort, we walk into it. While others worship surface, we dive into the depths. And because of that, we begin to see what others can't.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
The first false reality is one that's so deeply ingrained, most people never question it: the belief that success equals happiness. From the day we're born, we're programmed to chase a checklist: money, status, fame, external validation as the ultimate goal. We're told that if we get the job, the house, the partner, the recognition, we'll finally feel whole. But how many of you listening have achieved something you were told would complete you, only to feel emptier than before? That emptiness is a signal, a sign that what you were chasing wasn't real fulfillment. It was a distraction, a pacifier, a sedative for the soul. Dark chosen ones are cursed and blessed with the inability to lie to themselves for too long. We taste the fruit of the world's promises, and we know this is not it. This isn't why I came here. This isn't what my soul burns for. And that moment when you realize success is a mask, not a mirror, is the beginning of the unraveling. But here's the dangerous part. Once you see through that first illusion, the others start to fall apart too, like dominoes. And the second false reality comes crashing down: that people's approval equals personal worth. How many of us have shaped our entire identities around being liked, around being accepted? We censor ourselves, dim ourselves, twist ourselves into shapes just to fit into a mold we didn't even create. But a dark chosen one eventually hits a wall. A moment comes when the pain of pretending becomes louder than the fear of being rejected. And in that moment, we choose truth over comfort. We begin to speak, act, and live from alignment, not from approval. But don't get it twisted, this isn't easy. When you begin to break from the crowd, it doesn't celebrate you. It punishes you. You'll be called cold, selfish, arrogant, weird. You'll be misunderstood, misread, misplaced. But that's part of the cost of awakening. The world doesn't reward truthers, it tries to silence them. And yet we keep going, because we must. Because something in us refuses to live a lie. This leads to the third false reality, the illusion that pain is something to avoid. Society teaches us to numb, to distract, to medicate. If you're sad, scroll. If you're anxious, buy something. If you're lonely, hook up. We've been taught that pain is the enemy. But what if pain is the portal? What if it's the only thing pure enough to cut through the fog of illusion? Every dark chosen one has faced pain so deep, it shattered who they thought they were. And in that shattering, something ancient emerged, something real. Pain doesn't destroy us, it introduces us to the parts of ourselves we forgot. But only if we're willing to feel it. So I ask you this: When was the last time you let yourself fully feel your pain without trying to fix it, explain it, or run from it? Because in that space, raw, open, vulnerable, you begin to hear your soul again. You begin to see what matters. You begin to remember the truth that was buried under years of programming and pretending. And that brings us to the fourth false reality, the myth of separation. We're taught that we're separate from each other, separate from nature, separate from the divine. This lie is the foundation of fear. When you believe you're alone, you become easier to control. You compete, you compare, you cling. But when that false veil lifts, everything changes. You begin to feel the connection in everything. You begin to sense that the tree, the river, the stranger walking past you, they're not other. They're reflections, extensions, versions of you. And that realization doesn't just change how you live, it changes how you love. You stop needing people to be perfect. You start seeing their wounds as mirrors of your own. Compassion replaces judgment. Stillness replaces striving. But this awareness doesn't come easy. It often arrives after betrayal, after heartbreak, after loss. The dark chosen ones don't just study unity, we become it after being broken into pieces. And when we finally gather those pieces, we realize the final and most dangerous false reality, the illusion of powerlessness. This one is the most sinister because it's the most convincing. We're told we're small. We're told we're insignificant. We're told we can't change the world. And because we believe it, we live beneath our potential. We settle, we conform, we stay silent. But the truth is, you are not powerless. You're a creator, a transmitter, a portal. Your thoughts shape your frequency. Your frequency shapes your reality. You are not here to be a consumer of truth, you are here to embody it, to radiate it, to awaken others simply by existing in your full power. So now the question becomes, what would your life look like if you stopped believing you were powerless? Who would you become if you shed every false reality that was ever placed on you? You're not here to survive the world. You're here to remember you are the world. And once you see through these 5 illusions, there's no going back. You begin to live from a place that others can't understand. But that's okay, because dark chosen ones were never meant to be understood. We were meant to see. The veil of the ordinary, how the matrix keeps you asleep. The most dangerous prison is the one you don't know you're in. You wake up every morning, you brush your teeth, you check your phone, you follow the same path day after day, and you call it freedom. But what if I told you that the system you live in is not designed for your awakening, but for your sedation? Not to empower you, but to condition you. The truth is, the matrix doesn't bind your body, it binds your mind. And the chains are made of comfort, routine, and the illusion of choice. If you're listening right now, it's because something inside you has already begun to break that spell. You've started to question why everything feels so hollow. Why, even when you do everything right, something still feels off. That's not depression. That's your soul rejecting the programming. We live in a world that rewards obedience and punishes originality. From the moment we're born, we're told how to think, how to feel, what to desire. We're taught to follow rules that no one ever questions, to seek approval from people who don't know themselves, to chase goals that don't feed our spirits. You go to school not to learn how to think freely, but to conform. You get a job not to express your soul, but to survive. You build a life based on security, not truth. And this is what dark chosen ones begin to see through. We start to notice how everything is scripted, the news, the culture, the conversations, even the dreams we're encouraged to chase. None of it is real. None of it leads to liberation. But here's the trick. The matrix doesn't scare you into obedience, it entertains you into compliance. It keeps you distracted, addicted to stimulation, flooded with information but starved of wisdom. You're given endless content, but none of it asks you to go inward. You scroll for hours but feel emptier than when you started. You're connected to everyone but deeply disconnected from yourself. That's the veil of the ordinary, the spiritual sedation, the daily hypnosis that makes you forget you were born with divine power. Dark chosen ones begin to wake up not because they're special, but because they suffer. We feel the emptiness more intensely. We can't numb it like others can. We reach a point where the noise becomes unbearable. And in that breaking, we begin to see. We see how the world trains you to give your energy to everything but your soul. You give your time to jobs that drain you, your attention to screens that manipulate you, your emotions to people who don't value you, and all the while, your essence, your wild, ancient, untamed spirit sits in the corner, waiting to be remembered. So let me ask you something that might shake you. When was the last time you did something with no purpose but to nourish your soul? Not for money, not for validation, not for productivity, just because it made your spirit feel alive. If you can't remember, that's not your fault, it's the matrix doing its job. Because the moment you begin to live for your soul, not your role, you become unpredictable. And unpredictable people are dangerous to a system built on control. That's why awakening is not glamorous. It's not a peaceful meditation or a trendy Instagram mantra. It's violent in the most sacred way. It tears your illusions apart. It dissolves your identity. It forces you to confront every lie you've ever believed about yourself and the world. It doesn't make you feel good at first, it makes you feel lost. But that is the beginning of truth, the beginning of deprogramming. As you shed layer after layer of societal conditioning, you start to see how much of your life has been shaped by fear. Fear of not being enough. Fear of being alone. Fear of failure. And every time you've made a choice from fear, you've handed your power over to the matrix. But here's the miracle. The moment you choose from love, from truth, from alignment, even once you begin to unplug, you begin to remember what it feels like to be sovereign, to be free. And that's when the world starts to shift, not because the system has changed, but because you have. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop seeking and start being. You stop following and start leading from the inside out. That's the return. That's the rebellion. And it's the quiet revolution that dark chosen ones are leading every day simply by waking up. The pain of perception when seeing the truth hurts more than the lie. There's a specific kind of pain that doesn't come from trauma, loss, or betrayal. It comes from clarity, from perception, from finally seeing the world, yourself, and others as they truly are, not as you were told they were. And that pain is not sharp like a wound, it's heavy. It settles in your bones, in your breath, in your silence. Because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. And what hurts the most isn't the truth itself, it's realizing how long you lived inside a lie, how long you defended it, believed it, loved it, how much of your identity was built on illusions. Dark chosen ones know this pain intimately. We're not just the ones who awaken, we're the ones who awaken early, before the world is ready, before we're ready, and we pay a price for that vision. When you're the first in your family, your community, your circle to wake up, you carry the weight of seeing what others still deny. You watch people chase things that will never fulfill them. You watch them repeat cycles that break them. You try to warn them, help them, shake them awake, but they look at you like you're the crazy one. That's the paradox of perception. The more clearly you see, the more isolated you feel. And yes, that hurts. Not because you want to be right, but because you want them to be free. You want them to feel what you felt, that raw, terrifying, liberating moment when the veil lifts and you know You want them to stop suffering, but you learn, sometimes painfully, that truth cannot be forced. It must be chosen. And most people would rather stay comfortable in a lie than face the discomfort of truth. This is one of the most brutal lessons for a dark chosen one. You can't awaken those who are committed to sleeping. And yet, you keep seeing. You see the games people play with themselves. The way they stay in relationships that drain them, jobs that kill their spirit, identities that no longer fit. You see the masks, the performances, the fear, and you feel it all. Empaths, especially awakened ones, don't just observe pain, they absorb it. You walk through the world carrying not only your wounds, but the unspoken grief of humanity. And some days that weight feels unbearable. But here's where the deeper wisdom begins to emerge. The pain of perception isn't here to break you, it's here to purify you. To strip away what's false, not just outside of you, but within you. Because seeing clearly isn't just about others. It's about you. It's about facing your own shadows with the same intensity you use to decode the world. It's about questioning your own motives, your own stories, the parts of you that are still clinging to illusions. And that's where many stop. Because it's one thing to see the world's lies. It's another to see your own. But when you allow that brutal honesty to reshape you, you begin to birth a new self. A self that doesn't need validation to feel worthy. A self that doesn't need distractions to feel alive. A self that doesn't fear solitude, because solitude becomes sacred. You begin to move with quiet knowing, not loud desperation. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop proving and start embodying. And people feel it. They may not understand it, but they know something has changed. You become still in a world of noise, clear in a world of confusion, soft in a world of hardness. That's the power of perception fully integrated. It doesn't make you superior. It makes you anchored. And from that place, you no longer need to save others. You simply become the invitation for their own awakening. So now I ask you, with full sincerity, are you willing to keep seeing, even when it hurts? Even when it isolates you? Even when it breaks your heart? Because this path is not for the faint of spirit. It's not for those who seek peace without pain or truth without discomfort. It's for those who are willing to be undone by what they see, so they can be remade by what they know. And if that's you, then you're not just a seeker, you're a warrior of light disguised in darkness. You're not here to escape this world, you're here to transmute it. To walk through the illusion, eyes wide open, heart still soft, carrying the weight of what you see with the grace of one who has made peace with the pain. The power of being seen, why the world can't handle the real you. There's a moment in your awakening when you stop hiding, not just physically, but energetically. You stop folding yourself into smaller versions. You stop watering down your truth to make it easier to swallow. You stop pretending to be neutral, palatable, normal. You step forward fully. And when you do, something strange happens. The world doesn't applaud. It flinches. It resists. Because the world is not used to people who are fully real. It's not used to souls who carry no masks, no filters, no performance. And that, right there, is where the next level of your journey begins. The moment you are truly seen, not for who you pretended to be, but for who you are, is the moment you realize why you hid for so long. You see, we've been conditioned to believe that being seen is the goal. That, if we just show up as ourselves, people will understand, support, and accept us. But the truth is far more complex. When you fully embody your truth, you become a mirror so clear, so raw, that it terrifies those who are still running from their own reflection. Your presence alone becomes disruptive. You walk into a room and the energy shifts. Not because you're trying to dominate, but because you're not trying at all. You're simply being. And that state of being unapologetic, unfiltered, aligned is powerful. Too powerful for dark chosen ones often learn this the hard way. We show up in our truth, and instead of celebration, we're met with resistance. Instead of love, we're met with projection. People accuse us of being too much, too intense, too different. But what they're really saying is, you make me uncomfortable because I can't pretend around you. And that discomfort is not a sign that you need to shrink. It's a sign that you're finally expanding into the frequency you were always meant to embody. But let's be honest, being seen in your truth is terrifying at first, because we've all been burned. We've all had moments where we showed a piece of our soul and it was rejected, mocked, or misunderstood. So we learn to hide, to edit, to perform. But the cost of that hiding is your vitality, your joy, your power. And there comes a moment when the pain of hiding becomes greater than the fear of being seen. That's the moment you choose freedom over safety. And that's when everything begins to shift. Because the truth is, the world needs the real you, not the version you crafted to survive. Not the version that fits into trends, roles, or expectations. The real you, the one that remembers, the one that knows, the one that carries codes of light buried beneath lifetimes of suppression. Being seen isn't just about receiving applause, it's about transmission. When you're real, you activate others. You remind them what authenticity feels like. You become a tuning fork for truth, and that resonance can change lives. But first, it will challenge them. People will test you, push you, try to pull you back into the version of you they're comfortable with. Don't go. Don't shrink. Let them fall away if they must. Because the ones who are meant for you, your soul tribe, your mirror souls, your energetic equals, they will only find you when you stand in your realness. And they won't be afraid of your power. They will recognize it, because it matches their own. So the final question becomes, are you willing to be seen for who you really are, even if it means being misunderstood, rejected, or alone for a while? Because that's the final test of the dark chosen one, not just to awaken, but to embody, to speak when your voice shakes, to stand when your legs tremble, to shine when the world tries to dim you. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be remembered. You are here to awaken others by the sheer force of your authenticity. So don't just survive this world, disrupt it. Walk as the real you and let the world adjust. You are seen, you are felt, you are home.